Am I audible by any chance? Oh, okay, 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 good. Okay, all right. Maybe I you can now then. Am I audible still? Oh, okay, great. And I was not randomly drawing the squares, man, on the slides. I was actually trying to teach, but anyway, let me resume that. Uh, okay, good. So I don't know why that hiccup happened, but anyway, so as a gift of the last day of August. So we were looking at uh, that we were building this automaton using the grammar that has been given to us, and in case of top-down parsing, and if you watch the video later, you might find this a repeat, but please bear with me. In case of top-down parsing, we used to have non-terminals, and based on the non-terminals and the input symbol token that is coming in, we used to make a decision, that is apply which rule. Right? So that was our LL1 parsing. Similar thing we are going to do here, except that we are going to look at the next input symbol that is coming. But as you can notice that there are also, oops, no, I have not shared the screen. So we are going to look at not only the terminals but also the non-terminals, because we see that there are non-terminals also coming out of these states, right? So that is what we'll also have to have apart from the terminals, for example ID and opening parenthesis, right? So for example, from I0 we have transition from, and the left hand side, which is going to be different rows of this parsing table, are going to have not the non-terminals but the states which correspond to where we are in a particular production, right? The context in which we are going to apply a particular, let's say, reduction or shift. So as an example, from state I0, right? So for example, if there are 0 to 11 states in this, that means that the number of rows is going to be 12, and then the number of tokens is going to be, number of columns is going to be number of tokens plus number of non-terminals, in this case ETF. E prime we don't need to worry about because there is, E prime will not appear on the right hand side. So for example, on I0, on symbol E, we are going to go to state I1, right? Similarly on I0T, we are going to go to I2, and F, we are going to go to I3. However, on terminal, I am definitely going to go to I5, terminal ID, but I am also going to shift the input symbol, right? So there is no shifting happening when I am doing the E or T, but definitely there is, whenever I am consuming a token, at that time I am going to go to I5 after shifting the input token, right? So that go to I0 on ID is going to be shift and then go to I5. Similarly on opening parenthesis, shift and go to I4. Can you write down the go-tos for I1? Go-tos for I1. Okay, so I1 on dollar is accept. That is also another, apart from reduce shift, we are going to have one action as accept, and I1 on plus is going to be shift and I6. Right? Okay, so similarly on I2, okay, what will be there on I2? Shift and I6, correct? Yeah, so on I2, what are we going to do? So I2 on star is going to be shift followed by I7. Is there anything else that we require here? Right, so that is the question. Shift and I7, yeah. Okay, so let's understand that. So what we are asking is that one is when to apply the reduce, and the second one is what happens, for example, in I2 on plus, right? So there is no transition from I2 on plus. Does that mean that that is an error condition? Right? So not always it is an error condition. Although sometimes it is an error condition, but not always. And the reason being that there might be reduce which might be in picture, right? So that we have to understand when to apply the particular reduce. Okay. So I hope the question is clear that we have these different transitions using which we are going to build the parsing table or predictive parsing table, in which we are going to have these different actions that I need to go to a particular state, or I need to shift, I need to reduce, or I need to give an error. Right. So what all these states are that we have to build using this table. Right. So let's understand that. So let's focus specifically on I2. Right. So what happens on I2 plus, and we are also going to look at so 0 and 1 I am going to anyway write down. Right. So the 0 is going to be on ID S5, that is what we said, and on opening parenthesis shift and I4, and then on ETF I'm going to go to states 1, 2, 3, right? So this is what I have written in my parsing table. This is called as SLR1 parsing table using LR0 automaton. The LR0 because we didn't worry about the look ahead, we just looked at the grammar and decided what the automaton should be, what the transitions should be. Based on that, I am going to construct, based on the next look ahead symbol, I am going to decide the LR parsing. So this is called as SLR1 parsing. So that part is okay. As far as I1 was concerned, I1 on plus was shift and S6, shift and 6, and then on dollar it was accept. That also seems to be fine. As far as I2 on star is concerned, that goes to S7, I7, shift and 7. But I have also marked something like this, I need to reduce it somewhere, right? So there is E deriving T dot, which means that I have seen whole of T, and therefore this seems to signify that there is some reduction in place, right? And that I am saying should be done on symbols plus, opening parenthesis, and dollar. Right? You have to tell me where these plus, opening parenthesis, and dollar coming from. And why not, for example, on closing parenthesis or ID? Suggestions? Why do I have the reduce? So this means that I am going to reduce by applying this particular production. So why is there this particular reduce only for certain terminals? There won't be a reduce on the non-terminals, but nor will there be a shift. But why I am not having it for all the terminals and only for some of the terminals? Where are these terminals coming from? No? Okay. So let's recall what we did in the context of LL parsing. Uh, we had to think in the context of whenever we were talking about a look ahead, we were talking in the context of first and follow. Right? So in this case, also we have to look at the follow set, and based on the follow set of what, we have to see whatever are the tokens which are going to be in the follow set, those should be in the look ahead. And if that is the next symbol which is coming, which is definitely following after this non-terminal, then we have to apply the reduce. Right? So what should be the so plus opening parenthesis and dollar, this should be in the follow set of something. What should that non-terminal be? Okay, Madhav Reddy says E. Any other suggestions? Okay, Abhinav says T. Any other suggestions? And thanks for replying. I was not sure if I was again audible or not. Okay. So, as I was mentioning, that first and follow, don't think to be specific to top-down parsing or something like that, right? This is something which we are going to use all throughout, and that's going to be required for all different forms of parsing. So, we are going to have follow of E rather than follow of T. That whenever follow of E contains a non-terminal, whatever are the terminals that are contained in the follow of E, as soon as that appears on the next as the next input symbol, we are going to apply this particular transition for this particular production. Right? So that was our follow set which we have derived earlier in the context of LLM. Right? But you can quickly check that by finding first the first of E, first of T, first of F, and then based on that whatever are the next terminal characters which can appear, we can construct this follow set, right? So that you can recap. Okay, so now that you have seen this, what will be, okay, let's complete that discussion, but I'll ask you to construct the next row I3 using this. So columns for reduced entries are essentially the look aheads. Therefore, they need to be in the follow set of the head of the production. E deriving T dot, so it needs to be in the follow set of E. In general, A deriving alpha dot, if it's the production to be applied, that means that the string alpha is getting reduced to non-terminal A, then the look ahead should be in the follow set of A. Right? So, yeah, so in this case, it is plus opening parenthesis and dollar for E. Sorry about that formatting, but yeah, therefore we have this particular row for state I2. Okay, so let's complete the parsing table. Please do it for I3. So you have almost all the information that is required here in this slide. So I3 is here. And as you can see that it does have T deriving F dot, and therefore there will be some reduced entry coming into picture, and should be in the follow of T, and therefore plus star opening parenthesis and dollar, which is the information given here. That should, those columns should contain reduction with T deriving F. What are the other entries that are possible that you have to write? So what other entries are possible? Okay, so the other entries that are going to be potentially possible are going to be shift on a terminal, or a go to on a non-terminal, or an accept. there won't be any accept here. Accept is only E prime dot. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I1 dot. I1 dollar. Sorry. So what are the shift entries on tokens possible? Well, there is nothing which is flowing out of I3, and therefore there is no shift as well as no go to on non-terminal possible in this case, right? So we'll only reduce in I3, that is correct. So whenever you come to I3, if the next input symbol is plus star opening parenthesis dollar, then you are going to apply TROF. So that seems to be fine about the T3, okay? And T4, let's try for T4. There are a lot of things which are possible in T4. So let's try for T4. Not T4, I4. So on non-terminals, there are transitions. For example, on E there is transition to 8. On T there is transition to 2, and on F there is transition to 3. So these are going to be 3 go-to transitions possible. And then on non-terminals there are, on terminals there are transitions like on opening parenthesis as well as ID. Right? Shift and go to I2, and then shift and go to I5. Right? So that seemed to be the shift entries corresponding to state I4, and I don't see any reduction here. Right? Anybody sees any reduction here in state I4? Okay, let's check that. So that seems to be fine, right? So 5 and 4, shift with 5 and 4 states, and then transitions on 8 to 3, right? So now can you please complete at least a couple of states, and then we'll move ahead. If there are any questions, please ask. If something is unclear. One might wonder, why are we doing all of this? Well, we want to have this parsing table. Therefore, we are following this particular method. So please let me know if somebody has completed. Whenever you complete, let's say I5. Let me go back here, that will help you. So I5 is here. As you can notice, there are only going to be reduce entries in I5 similar to I3. So what would those reduce entries be? What would be the columns? Plus star, opening parenthesis and dollar, right? So it should be in the follow set of the non-terminal F, which is this, and therefore plus star opening parenthesis dollar should be the columns in which F deriving ID dot reduce entries should appear. Okay, that sounds fine. Any transitions that are occurring? No, right? And therefore for I5 the row is going to contain only the reduce entries. For I6 things are going to be again, there won't be any reduce entries here, Um, there will be some transitions possible, right? So again, there will be, depending upon that, there will be transitions and so on. So I'll wait for a few seconds for you to think about I6, what are the entries that are going to be there, and in case you have not filled the I5, then we'll move. And as you can imagine that if there is shifting also possible and reduce also possible, that doesn't necessarily mean that there is shift reduce conflict, right? Or if there are two reduce possible uh, from the same state, then there is a possibility of reduce conflict, but shift reduce conflict is not always going to happen. Shift reduce conflict is going to happen only if there is a shift and a reduce possible out of a state and something more, right? What would that something more be? Okay, go to 60 is 9, go to 60 is 9, go to 6f is, that is 6t, then 6f is 3, that is correct, and go to 6 opening parenthesis shift 4, opening parenthesis is shift and then you go to 4, that is correct. But there are two more transitions. Okay, go to 6 id is shift 5, that is correct. I think there is a problem here. Anyway, on id it should go to f deriving id dot, so it should go to I5, that is correct. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, correct. Okay. And there are no reduce entries here. As you can see, there is nothing which is following the production, as a dot is not following the production, and therefore there won't be any reduce entries possible. Right? So that seems to be the I6 answer. Yeah, my question was that if you have, for example, just fictitiously, if there is t deriving f dot, right, and then there is another non-terminal, let's say x deriving f dot, right, then there are going to be reduce well, yeah, then there will be reduce conflict. But if there is t deriving f dot and then there is t deriving f dot something, and then there is also a transition out of this. Okay, let's think about it only as that there is a reduction because of t deriving f dot, and then there is a transition to a new state. Right? When can we say that the shift reduce conflict is there? I mean, just by looking at this, can we say that there is shift reduce conflict, or something else is required? Any suggestions? Okay, Mr. is saying something else is required. Okay, that's fine. What is that something else? If we have t deriving t dot id, okay. So if you have t deriving t dot id, you will not apply a reduce, right? So there is t dot id. That's okay. We do have such things here. For example, yeah, here e dot plus t, right? So on that we will have a transition on plus, right, which is going here. So that seems to be okay. That will not necessarily, that will not create a shift reduce conflict. Okay, Girinath has said something, contains the same what? The same terminal. So if follow of t contains the same terminal, let's say plus is the terminal symbol on which there is a transition, that means there is a shift involved on plus and follow of t. Oops. Uh, and follow of t contains plus, then according to follow of t containing plus we need to have a reduce, and because there is transition on plus there should be a shift, and at that time there will be a shift reduce. Right? All right, good. So let's okay. So let's move ahead from here. So the entries should look something like this for rest of the parts, where there are no further reduce entries in 6, 7, 8 states. And however, there are a few more states remaining, right? So this is going to be the shift entries for that, and then 9, 10, 11 are going to add some reduce entries. Right? So that those I'm sure you'll be able to figure out. So I'm not going to wait for that, but please try this out later. Okay. Any questions on this one? Okay, so if there are no questions, we'll continue our discussion on this one. In general, instead of showing this, for example, on 10, apply this reduction t deriving t star f, what gets usually done is that, so this particular rule, we can give numbers to these rules also. For example, e deriving e plus t is 1, this is e deriving t is 2, and therefore t deriving t star f is 3, and so on. So you can reduce with the third rule is what you can write instead of the actual rule, but yeah, that is just a naming convention. So right, so this becomes our passing table. What do we do with it? Well, whenever, as you start from state 0, and then whenever the next input symbol comes, you apply that I want to go to a particular rule based on what is the next input token, maybe ID and so on, whether I need to shift or go to a particular different state, whether I need to reduce, and finally whether I need to accept and so on. So all of these we apply by using this passing table. I'm going to show you the algorithm corresponding to that LR parsing, right? So, and after that I'll summarize what all we did. So if A is the first symbol of the input string $, we are talking about bottom up parsing. Push the state 0 on the stack. We are definitely going to have this state which we are, the stack which we are going to use. Earlier, which we were using for shift reduce parsing, for shifting the symbols, right? And as well as reducing using the viable handle on the stack. So the stack is definitely an important piece here, just that it doesn't come very naturally here, but in the algorithm it is going to come very easily because the shift and reduce are happening on the stack. So I0 we push on the stack. Initially we used to say that there is some bottom of the stack and so on. Here we are going to make use of the states. So until true we are going to loop through, and then there are different possibilities. So if S is on top of the stack, that is the state in which you are in, on that state, if on the next input symbol, if the action is shift, right? Alternatively, another possibility is that state and A is going to be reduced, which means that A appears in the look ahead of the left hand side non-terminal, and if there is reduction process, and that left hand side non-terminal is going to be capital A. Beta is an arbitrary set of strings which are there on top of the stack at this stage, or the action is S on $, that A might be $ is equal to accept, then break, right? And by the way, there is a possibility that you might have an accept state even on non-$, right? For example, if you are talking about some strings where all the strings will start with small a, right? In this case, the string might be large. You need not wait for the $ to recognize these strings, and therefore you might have an action on a terminal which is not a $, and still the action is accept, right? So that is possible. So in which case you come out of the loop. Otherwise, there might be an error in which also you come out of the loop, or you handle the error and go to the next parsing stage and so on. Right? Let's write down the rules for the shift and reduce. Rules meaning the actions for shift and reduce. For shifting, we push this, so shift T, which means that this is the symbol that should be pushed into the stack. In general, it is going to be A. It's just that this is little more general, that if I am looking at a particular symbol, I don't want to shift um, uh, particularly symbol, but I am talking about a state here, which means that the state might represent something more than just the terminal. In our case, these are kind of synonymous, but that shift T is the state which I am pushing onto the stack, right? Which is more like an abstraction, right? And then let A be the next input symbol, because I have consumed small a. Now let me read the next. Now let me point A to the next input symbol without consuming. Right? If it is a reduce, then I need to pop the symbols corresponding to beta. The length of beta is going to tell me how many symbols to pop from the stack. And once I have popped it, then I need to go to the previous state. So after like T star F, we went all the way back to I0, right? So that I0 I need to go to and then apply on that non-terminal capital A where I am going to go to, right? So let the state on top of the stack be T, which was I0 in our case, or 0. On that, on A, I am going to apply the go to, right? So here there is an action and then there is a go to, right? These two are two different functions which I have. Action is on the terminals and go to is on the non-terminals. I mean, that is the nomenclature which gets used, but you can use action for both of them. That is also okay. This is just for clarity, right? So then I'm going to push T comma capital A onto the stack. Sorry, whatever is the state corresponding to go to of T comma A, and then I'm also going to output the production. In this case, output is just again an abstraction. Whatever you want to, let's say you want to store that this is the production which was used, A deriving beta. Okay. Any questions on this algorithm? Okay, so let me move ahead. So to summarize our SLR1 parsing, so we had three steps in this algorithm. We first constructed this big automaton. We also identified the first and follow, which we didn't really do this time, but we borrowed it from the top-down parsing. And then we filled up the parsing table, which was states on the, which was this one, right? So these were states along the rows, and then terminals and non-terminals along the columns. What did we do in the building of the automaton? We first augmented the grammar using this. Then we created kernel items, the first state I0, and then from there, whatever are the transitions possible and so on, moving the dot one step at a time. We build the closure, build the item sets, and then build the go-to functions on the non-terminals as well as on the terminals. Right? So this was our overall parsing, SLR1 parsing. Any questions on this one? Okay. Okay. Then you have to construct the LR0 automaton corresponding to the given grammar, and then from there construct the SLR1 parsing table. Right. So let's do that. Okay. Maybe we'll start with constructing first and follow. You have to tell me what is first of S, first of A, then follow of S and follow of A. Let's start with that. Mhm. Any suggestions other than what Sarthak has written? Okay, so let's check that. First of A is definitely going to contain small a. First of S is definitely going to contain B, right? There is no epsilon transition here, and therefore there won't be any epsilons appearing in the first of anything. But first of S also contains first of A, and therefore small a also appears in the first of S. Um, First of A also contains first of S, and therefore first of A should also contain A. I mean B also. Therefore, my suggestion is that first of A should be AB as well as first of S should also be A. Okay, Nishchit has also gotten this. Sarthak, does that seem reasonable? Okay. Any other suggestions here? Okay, so let's move ahead. I request everybody to try this out. Today the response seems to be a little feeble, but anyway, let's once we have constructed the first and follow, the next step is to construct the LR0 automaton. The first step towards that is to augment the grammar. So S prime deriving, let's say S is going to be our augmentation. Once we have that, then we need to construct the LR0 items. So that is going to be the first state I0. That will be S prime deriving dot capital S. Once we have this kernel item, then we have to build a closure corresponding to this and then go on applying the transition. So please try that. So how many items in I0? Okay, Nishchit says 5. Any other suggestions? So how many items are there in I0? With the question. Okay, Venkata Surya has also gotten 5. Okay, so S prime deriving dot S is the first item, that is the kernel item. From there we are going to construct the non-kernel items, which are going to be, since it is dot capital S, whatever is, so I am about to derive anything starting from S, and therefore I have also not seen whatever is derivable from capital S, and therefore S deriving dot AS, S deriving dot B are going to be two additional non-kernel items. Apart from that, since I have S deriving dot AS, I have not yet derived from capital A, and therefore A deriving dot SA and A deriving dot A would also be additional non-kernel items. So therefore there are going to be all 5 items in this state. Okay, so on that I0, what are the transitions that are possible? On non-terminals and terminals, what are the transitions that are possible? S, A and AB. We'll have transition on capital S, that is correct. Let me wait for others to also chip in. Okay. Is it also got the same? Okay. So capital S definitely, because that appears after dot, and then after dot capital A also appears, therefore that will also be there. And then dot B and dot A appear, and therefore there are going to be these additional two transitions possible. Alright, so that seems fine. We are going to have that I0 state, we will build the, accordingly we'll have to have other states coming in. I request that you try this out as a homework exercise. And then try running it, and after filling it, creating the finite automaton. Also, we'll have to build the parsing table. For that, we'll require the follow set. And please let me know if you face any trouble in constructing the parsing table. Once we have the parsing table, we can run it on ABAB, which means that you start from I0. If the next input symbol is small a, what happens? That is the state you go to, apply that particular rule, either it is shift or if there is nothing and so on. I think ABAB does belong to this language, so it won't be an error state. So how it happens and how the accept happens, that we have to see. So that I suggest that you try that out. We'll try one more example maybe in the next class. Any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, we'll meet tomorrow.